Hi everyone, this is Miles Mortgage Salva, or you may call me Sir Miles, and I would like you to welcome to my business finance class. So for today's recorded video discussion, we will just continue the first lesson, which is the introduction to financial management. So now, the first topic that we're going to discuss is the equity instrument. Okay, so when we say equity instrument, it is any contract that evidences residual interest in the asset of an entity after deducting all liabilities. So, example nito, we have the ordinary share capital, we also have the preference share capital, and these are the and identify common example of a debt and equity instrument. So next, we have the debt instruments, which is generally have fixed return due to the fixed interest rate. So example nito, we have the debt instruments that are follows. We have the treasury bonds. We also have the treasury bills. These are issued by the Philippine government, and these bonds and bills have usually low interest rate and have very low risk of default since the government assurance that this will be paid. Okay, so dito class, sa treasury bonds and treasury bill, there are low risk because these liabilities that we have in government or yung inutang natin from Philippine government is have a credibility na kung saan they don't need to have a high interest rate since they are from government. Okay, so kaya minimal or low risk lang kapag uutang tayo from Philippine government, which is the treasury bonds and treasury bills. We also have corporate bonds, which are issued by publicly listed companies, and these bonds are usually have higher interest than treasury bonds. So compared to treasury bonds though class, the corporate bonds is have a higher interest than treasury bonds. So however, these bonds are not risk-free. Ibig sabihin, this is not, these corporate bonds have high risk because the company will issue a bonds goes bankrupt and the holder of the bonds will no longer receive any return from their investment, even their principal investment can be wiped out. So the equity instrument generally have varied returns based on the performance of the issuing company, which is the return from the equity instrument come from either dividend or stock appreciation of the following types of equity instrument. We have the common stock, which is on the other hand is the real owners of the company. So if you have a common stock, ibig sabihin you are an owner of a company. So the company's growth is spurring the common stock with the benefit on the growth. So moreover, during the profitable period of a company may decide to declare a higher dividends or the preferred stock will be receive a fixed dividend rate while the common stockholders receive all the excess. So when we say financial market naman, so itong words na to are usually using in financial markets or financial management. So you need to know kung ano ba talaga yung ibig sabihin nitong mga words na yon. First, we have the primary market. So when we say primary market, these are the financial market in which securities are initially issued or the only market in which the issuer is directly involved in that transaction, and that is primary market. Next, we have the public offering where the sales of either bonds or stock to the general public. So we need to know if the company are selling their stock and market to the general public. And we also have the private placement wherein the sale of the new security directly to an investor or a group of investor. And next, we have the secondary market wherein financial market is which pre-owned securities are traded And last, next we have the money market, wherein financial relationship created between suppliers and users of a short-term funds. And last, we have the capital market, where the market that enables supplier or users of a long-term fund to make transaction. Right now, let's classify the financial market into comparative group. We have the primary and secondary market. So when we say these markets, these raise money, the raise money or the users of the fund will go to the primary market to issue new securities, either debt or equity through public offering or private placement. So it can categorize into primary market once the user of the fund will go or will have or will issue a new securities. It's either debt or equity. So they need to go to public offering or private placement. Next naman, the sale of new securities to the general public is referred to as a public offering, and the other or the first offering of stock is called an initial public offering. So the first offered stock in the market or in the public offering will call as initial public offering. So the sale of new securities to one investor or a group of investors, which is the institutional investor, are referred as a private placement. So yung mga yung mga investor natin or yung mga group investor natin na kung saan they sell new securities to the private persons, they call it as a private placement. Okay. So, however, suppliers of funds or the holders of the securities may decide to sell the securities that that have previously been purchased, and the sale of the previously owned securities take place in secondary market. So dito, yung mga suppliers ng mga fund naman or yung holders ng security, they may decide if yung stock nila or yung securities na meron sila can be sell to another buyer ng securities or ng stock, and they call it as a secondary market. So the Philippine Stock Exchange or the PSE is both primary and secondary market. So now let's define or differentiate what is money market and capital market. So when we say money market class, it is the venue wherein securities with short-term maturities, 1 year or less, are sold. Okay, so yung mga securities na meron tayo, yung mga stock natin na kung saan less than 1 year pa lang nabili natin, and we sold it, it is what we call money market. So they are created because some individuals, businesses, government, or financial institution have temporary idle funds that they wish to invest in relatively safe or interest-bearing assets. So these individuals ay pinapabili nila yung fund nila para magkaroon sila, ay pinapabili nila yung securities or the stock para magkaroon sila ng fund to invest in another business or to the another asset. So at the same time, other individual businesses, government, and financial institutions find themselves in need of seasonal and temporary financing. And sometimes, yung mga institution na to ay need nila talaga ng pera in seasonal. Okay, ibig sabihin, in that time, they really need a money to finance their business. So on another hand, securities with longer term maturities are sold in capital market. So yung mga securities and stock natin in a longer maturities, ibig sabihin sobrang tagal na. So these securities that is have a long-term maturities, it's sold in capital market, wherein the key capital market securities are bonds or long-term debts, and both common stock and preferred stock, which is the equity or ownership. So now, we proceed to financial institutions. So we have different financial institutions wherein we can borrow money from them if ever we need money to capital or to finance our businesses or to finance ourselves. First, we have the commercial banks. So these commercial banks are individual deposits fund at commercial bank which used to deposited fund to provide commercial loan to firm or personal loan to individual and purchase debt security issued by the firm or government agency. So dito class, individuals or businesses, they deposit fund at commercial bank wherein umutang sila or nag-loan sila dito sa bangko na to so that they can provide or they can have additional investment to their business. So they need to pay their interest or their loan through commercial banks. Okay. We also have insurance companies. So individual purchase insurance, life, property, casualty, and health protection with insurance premium. So dito, if you want an insurance for yourself or for your business, you need to pay insurance. You need to purchase an insurance to insurance company. So dito, if ever na ma-accidente ka or magkaroon ng hindi maganda about your business, you will receive a money from insurance company that you purchase. Okay, so there are a lot of insurance companies, so it's up to you to find what company do you want and what kind of insurance you really want to have. Okay, so syempre para magkaroon tayo ng insurance, we need to pay every month or depende kung kailan kayo magbabayad or depende sa companies if nag-agree both sides. Okay? We also have mutual funds. So ditong mutual funds nito are owned by investment companies which enable small investor to enjoy the benefit of investing in a diversified portfolio of securities purchased on their behalf of professional investment managers. So dito, some individuals mutual funds are owned by investment companies. So dito, some small investor really enjoy to have or to invest in the mutual fund because there are a lot of benefits that they can get once they have a mutual fund from different companies. So the mutual fund use money from investor to invest in a newly issued debt or securities. They finance new investment by the firms. So next we have the pension funds, wherein the financial institution that receive payment from employees and investment proceed on their behalf. So dito mga pensionado na tao or mga bagay-bagay, lalo na mga negosyo na kung saan they will receive payment from employees and invest in the proceed of their behalf. So yun yung pension funds. So we also have other financial institution which include the pension fund like government service insurance system, which is the GSIS. We also have the SSS or the Social Security System, and of course we have the Unit Investment Trust Fund or the UIPF. And we also have the investment bank, credit union, and among others. So yan po yung ibang financial institution that we have in our society. So as you can see in the picture, we have the steps of a financial institution. So they can borrow, the individual investor can deposit or they can purchase shares through mutual funds or commercial banks and other depository institution, wherein the provision of the banks and purchase of the debt securities into the firm. Okay? So yan po yung magiging flow ng isang financial institution. So that will be the end of our recorded video discussion. So if you have any questions, clarification, or suggestion, please don't hesitate to contact me through Messenger or through Gmail. So thank you everyone for listening and watching this recorded video discussion. See you.